Welcome to the Inspiration Incubator. Here we rejuvenate, reconnect, reteach, and redirect. I am your host, Leona Baker. It is our hope that you leave inspired with resources and information to help you achieve and dream. Our world needs you. Let's see who is next on the Inspiration Incubator. Beverly's Home Healthcare. Love is all that matters. Do you have a grandparent at home, a senior citizen, or perhaps just a loved one who needs additional assistance? Some may need non-medical services such as personal care attendants, certified nursing assistants, respite care, home health aides, homemakers, companions, or housekeeping. Others may need a long run of personal care services. Well, contact Beverly's Home Healthcare and get your loved one needs met today. You may contact them at 215-596-5200. That's 215-596-5200 today. Karen Eubanks Jackson, founder, CEO of Sisters Network Incorporated. A 26-year, 4-time breast cancer survivor, is recognized nationally as a true visionary and national leader in the African American breast cancer movement. Sisters Network is the nation's only African American breast cancer survivorship organization. Jackson continues to lead Sisters Network's nationwide effort to focus the spotlight on increasing breast cancer awareness in the African American community. The organization provides standardized national educational outreach programs, survivor and family support, empowerment, hope, and financial assistance to thousands of women annually through its national network of over 20 survivor-run affiliate chapters. In 1994, Jackson founded Sisters Network Incorporated. During her personal fight to survive breast cancer, Jackson recognized a lack of sisterhood in traditional organizations, a staggering breast cancer mortality rate for African American women, and limited, culturally sensitive material. Jackson's primary motivation was to break through the silence and shame of breast cancer that immobilizes African American women, restricts their ability to receive support services, interferes with early detection, and ultimately affects their survival rates. Jackson's Breast Health Matters advocacy work has garnered numerous awards and recognitions: BET Her Fight, Breast Cancer TV Award, Ebony Magazine Power 100 List, JCPenney Champion of Change, Breast Cancer Hero, My Lifetime TV, the Jefferson Award, NBC, Status of Women Award, National Council of Negro Women Incorporated, Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center Award, ICC Hope Award, Founders Award, the Leadership BET Award, History Maker in the Making, the Lance Armstrong, Voice of Survivorship, DMARS Living Legend Award, Top 50 Black Professional and Entrepreneur 2020. Under her leadership, Sisters Network has developed numerous national breast health outreach initiatives, including hosting the first National African American Breast Cancer Conference and Breast Cancer 10-City Conference Tour, the annual Stop the Silence National African American Breast Cancer 5K Walk Run, attracting nearly 10,000 participants each year, and Teens for Pink, a former innovative, award-winning teen breast health awareness program. Additionally, Sisters offer the Gift for Life Block Walk, Pink Ribbon Faith-Based Awareness, and the Breast Cancer Assistance Program. Sisters Network has provided over $1 million in conference and scholarships to help train African American breast cancer survivors to be advocate leaders in the communities. A recognized and highly sought breast cancer expert, Jackson is frequently invited to speak on the international and national stage and share her perspective on the state of breast cancer in the African American community. Jackson has been featured in numerous national newspapers, magazines, television, radio programs, internet media outlets, inclusive of the Huffington Report, Essence, New York Times, Washington Post, U.S. News and World Report, Ebony Webb, MD, Jet Black Enterprise, Breast Cancer Wellness Cover, a published co-author of several works, including Breast Diseases, a yearbook quarterly. Jackson is an honorary member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, member of the Houston, Texas chapter Links Incorporated, lifetime member of the NAACP. Jackson attended Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. She is surrounded by love from her husband of 33 years, Kyle Scott Jackson, daughter Colleen, and two granddaughters, Brianna and Alexis. Well, welcome to the Inspiration Incubator, Miss Jackson. How are you today?
Just fabulous. It's a wonderful day. So glad to be on with you.
Oh, thank you so much for coming, Miss Karen. You are truly an inspiration, and I am honored to have you with us today. Your life and your light is consistently, it shines very, very brightly. Having an opportunity to see you share your beautiful photos of your lovely daughter, granddaughters, your husband, and your work in the community, it just keeps me abreast of the joy that you share with others. What some people may or may not know, Miss Karen, you are on the front lines fighting for attention locally and nationally for breast cancer survivors that are African Americans as well as others. But essentially for African Americans, there's so many disparities, and we'll talk about that later. So we needed an organization such as the one that you created. For 27 years, you have been a breast cancer survivor, and you were diagnosed not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. This is not just any fight, it's personal with you. I have shared in your sorrow and grief while reading your post, and when I think of a woman who is resilient with so much class, so much elegance and dignity, fighting for her life along with a community, it's you.
You know, that is some introduction. I'm going to hire you.
I'll take it. So let's start here. I want to start with, where were you, Miss Karen, when you first received that phone call or that information? Where were you when you realized, you know what, this is now a battle that I have to face?
Yes, I lived in Los Angeles, my husband and I, and we were just enjoying ourselves. We had no children at home. It was just the two of us. So things were wonderful. And I've always known that I had a breast cancer history because of my family. I knew something about it, but nothing in detail. So I had started getting my mammogram early in my 30s because I wanted to be proactive. I knew at least that I should get a mammogram. That was the information that was shared, and that's what I read about. So I considered myself taking the right step. And there's where knowledge is power. But I didn't have full knowledge. I only had some, and some is not good enough. As I can share with you that you have to have 100% of the information that you need to really find breast cancer early and have an early detection happen with you. It's a much easier journey that you can survive. So I found my cancer at a stage 2, and it was 3.5 centimeters. And most of us, we don't know centimeters, but it's large.
Mm.
And I could have found it earlier had I known to ask the doctor sooner. What else could he show me? What other tests could I have? Because I was only getting the mammogram, and that didn't show that I had cancer. It never did. So he recommended an ultrasound, and I had to fight for that, even with insurance. I had to make sure that he knew that I wasn't leaving until he made that order for me to get an ultrasound. Even though I wasn't even sure what that meant or what it did, I knew I needed something more than a mammogram because my intuition, knowing my body and always being alert about what's going on in my body and especially in my breast, I knew there was a sensation that was in one breast. It wasn't in both breasts, so I assumed it was something going on. I didn't claim cancer though.
Right.
So when he told me everything was fine again, that third and fourth time, I said, no, it's not fine. There's something wrong. What else can you do? So he recommended the ultrasound. Lo and behold, it had been there 5 or 6 years. So that's why I got to a 3.5 centimeter instead of something a lot smaller and easier to work with. So I had to go through the ritual of having the 6 months of chemo, which was very hard on my body. And the radiation wasn't too bad. I found the chemo harder to deal with than the radiation. And the surgery was tolerable. I had a lumpectomy. But mentally, my husband and my daughter Colleen to help guide me as to what I should be looking for. Because Colleen went ahead and found out that I needed breast surgeon to be in a breast center because I didn't know to look for that. A hospital and a good doctor, but not necessarily a breast specialist. So we started out on the right foot, so I had a good start.
That's awesome. I'm so grateful that your daughter, Colleen, and your granddaughters and your husband, they have just been such a tribe for you. And I understand what it's like myself to be a co-survivor, which is someone who has actually assisted an individual that they love and they care for with cancer.
That's not an easy job.
No, ma'am. But you know what? I give them all the kudos in this world because without them, the people, the support, it just makes it more difficult, which leads me back to your wonderful organization, the Sisters Network.
I felt the need to have that sisterhood, that camaraderie of women who looked like me that I would be able to talk with and find out things about how they survive, what they're doing, how their lifestyle has changed or not changed. I needed that interaction myself. And I actually thought I could pick up the telephone and call an 800 number
Mm,
and talk to somebody in a national organization for African American women and breast cancer. I was
yeah.
dumbfounded that none existed. So, with the vision of what I wanted to join and my need for that interaction with women who look like me, and also finding out that the system that we were in for breast cancer for African American women wasn't exactly favorable. All they
Mm,
talked about is we die from breast cancer. I didn't hear too much about living. And it
okay.
didn't seem like the treatment was geared to us because they kept saying, well, we're not in the clinical trial, so this treatment is good, but we're not sure how it's going to work specifically for African American women. So that kind of information was discouraging as a survivor. You think you're getting the best that's out there for everybody. I didn't even know there would be a difference in how our body would receive
Treatment.
treatment. And lo
Mm-mm.
and behold, there is a difference. Your genetic history, your biomarkers, things that we don't talk about it in our community are very, very important to our survival. So being involved in the clinical trials to see what works on our bodies because of the differences, the social determinants that we live in, and don't even sometimes pay attention to things that are working against us because it happens so much.
Yes.
So we talk about driving while black. Well, with breast cancer, you are living while black.
Woo.
And it's a big difference living as a black breast cancer survivor.
You know, Miss Karen, that actually led me to look at some statistics about us when my sister was diagnosed, because my concern for her is exactly what you just said. I couldn't understand why isn't there more conversation about how to assist women of color, African American women specifically, with their fight against this vicious disease. People don't understand, if they are not a co-survivor, to see someone you love to transform because their bodies go through so many different changes. The symptoms that they project, such as anxiety, the burning of their skin when they're going through either, I'm not quite clear the difference between the chemo or the radiation treatments, but I know that there is burning to the skin because my sister did show me her photos. There's like a brain fog, depression, fatigue, loss of hair, hot flashes, loss of sex drive. And ironically, for your organization, since it is an educational component,
and as the national headquarters, we make the educational component for the survivors within the organization. We have information that we're all sharing equally. And then what comes back from the different regions, then we can reevaluate what's going on in the different areas, because it's not one shoe fits all. Because we're different in different communities of African American women across the country. Not like drastic differences, but the different nuances plays a part in how you approach your journey in breast cancer. I can give you a really direct example. I designed a program early on. Now, remind you, we started in '94, so I designed a program called the Gift for Life Block Walk because I felt the information we were taking to our community door to door was a gift.
Yeah.
And that's just how we came up with the name. But this gift was the information that would give women the ability to have the knowledge in order to make the correct decisions on if they were diagnosed or if someone they loved or a community person or someone from church, they'd have the information. But guess what? In our communities, you can't go door to door every city. Some cities do better than others. So that particular program worked very well in certain areas. And in some other areas, women didn't feel comfortable to go door to door. But I can say the areas that we did start the program, and Houston was the very first Gift for Life block walk, and we started in Fourth Ward. We never, ever had an incident that was bad or detrimental to the program or to the individuals participating, because the general public did participate along with the survivors. But the program itself was not 100% for every part of the communities in which we were, having our affiliate chapters. So you can understand, you just can't have a program that you think everybody can use.
Right.
And see, that's how the general public and the pharmaceuticals and the medical doctors were all treating us like we're all homogeneous, all the same, and we're not.
I tell you, there is no cookie cutter approach to anything in life. We are all unique individuals. We all have different starting points, and we can be grouped when it comes to some, tests or some statistics. Obviously African American women can be grouped to a degree, but there has to be an action plan specific to that person's needs.
Absolutely.
Our bodies are just uniquely made. So there isn't a cookie cutter approach. When I think about the educational component, Ms. Karen, that you are bringing to the community, it's just beyond a blessing. I mean, you have so much to offer. Not only are you making it affordable for women to get, mammograms, and it was through you and your organization that I learned there's a difference between your 3D mammogram and your ultrasound. So can you educate us on that?
Yes. When you get your mammogram, which is the standard of care, that only gives you 85% of what's going on in your body. And to this day, I don't know why they don't recommend the ultrasound for your baseline when you get your first baseline mammogram, but they don't. I can't answer that question, but I can say that they should. So the ultrasound gives you the 15% to add with the mammogram, so you know 100% that your body has been tested, it's clear. You have another year before you have to go back. But only getting one or the other, you're not getting all that you need to know. And so many of us don't realize that. We say we had our mammogram. We don't even know if it was the baseline mammogram or 3D mammogram. And the information is there, but we have to absorb it and use it. Even today, I had 3 calls from women who were going to get their mammogram, and they said, "So, which one am I supposed to ask for?"
Yes.
And we have information, but when we're talking about going to the doctors, and we got so much on our minds, sometimes the basic things that we should know, we don't. And it can make a difference between finding something early or late.
It really does because of early detection. That's
Yeah,
how my sister
it's
like.
not a slogan. It's for real. That's why I'm still here after 4 bouts with breast cancer, because I was in tune with my body, listening and feeling, not with my fingers, and I had insurance and knowledge. That's
Wow.
what saves your life.
Yes, ma'am. And when we speak about the disparities, Miss Karen, can you go over some of the reasons why we know that African Americans aren't necessarily receiving the treatment that they should receive or they could receive as a result of these disparities? Because there are some specific.
Well, yes, we talk about, I know when I started Sisters, we used to call it institutional racism. So now the new terminology is social determinants. And that just lists the things that some of us are born into situations that hinder us. Some of us move into areas that aren't accessible to the health care that you need. Some of us don't have the insurance. But most importantly, if we had the information and used it properly, that falls on us. I'm not going to give us a pass saying that everything's against us. Some of
Right.
these things we have to learn that there's nobody coming to save you. You have to be your own self advocate.
Ooh, teach Miss Karen. Yes.
I
This-
hate to be straightforward like that, but I'm really a little weary of beating around the bush. We have to come on now, ladies.
all
Take
right.
responsibility. Maybe we don't have to get our weave that month. Maybe we should just
Mm,
get our mammogram.
all right. I love it, Miss Karen. I'm trying to tell you because what you're doing is you're holding us accountable for the things that we can do.
No
So
problem.
we know there's a difference in the 3D mammogram
Yes.
and then the ultrasound. Those are the two comparisons. So
Yes.
just to be clear, people, because I want you to make sure that you get the correct information to be at your best self that you can be. Make sure that you request that 3D mammogram, which is different from the ultrasound. So
Yes.
I'm grateful
And
for
as an organization, we are not holding the agencies, the medical people, holding them responsible for what they need to be doing, because there are certain things that don't happen for African American women that if we don't have the knowledge to ask for, different tests. Now, whoever, so many examples. So somebody will say, "Oh, I had a problem," and then they go give you a mammogram of one breast. or an ultrasound of one breast. That's ridiculous.
Yes, it is. I totally agree. I
You
totally
know,
agree.
it's and when especially if you have insurance, sometimes it doesn't matter. It's just that the insurance people, now I'm gonna put this on the insurance because they're running the show.
I love it.
They don't want to pay for two when they can get away with one. But in the
Hey.
meantime, you don't know what's going on in the other breast.
Mm, mm, mm.
And it's criminal. Have the knowledge to say, I want an ultrasound of both my breasts. Because
Mm.
I've had it happen to me. Well, the doctor only ordered for your right. What's wrong with my left? I need both.
On there, Miss Karen. All right, you teaching us, and I love it because you have wisdom, you have knowledge, you have understanding, and you have an area of expertise. So for people out there listening, this woman has survived it for 27 years. She knows her information, so we just have to listen and take it to heart and do the things that we can do. Now, I'm going to go over some health disparities statistics briefly so that you can go to the Sisters Network website and you can educate yourself about the statistics because you need to understand what battle you're facing if, in fact, you are diagnosed or if someone you love is diagnosed. So,
Thank
one of
you.
the statistics, you're welcome. One of the statistics is African American women under the age of 35 have rates of breast cancer 2 times higher than the Caucasian women under 35. Now you have to ask yourself, twice as much? Not 25% or 35%, I mean 50%. We are 50% more likely to be diagnosed. And we have to start asking the question, why? African Americans under age 35 die from breast cancer 3 times as often as Caucasian women of the same age. Why is that? Those are the questions we have to start asking. And another statistic, researchers believe that access to healthcare and the quality of healthcare available may explain these disparities, but scientists continue to investigate. Well, I'm here to tell you as an African American woman, we as African Americans, we understand that not only do we have to fight the disparities with breast cancer, that's in society overall. But what we can do is educate ourselves by going to the Sisters Network, getting involved, seeking the answers to the questions that we have because they have a wealth of information. Now, some of the educational webinars that are on the website that I actually started looking at was number one, a new you. I know for a fact, and you will wake up one day, for some people and feel like, what, I'm just a total different person because of the impact that it takes. There's another webinar, Reclaiming Sex and Understanding How to Become Intimate After Being Diagnosed with Breast Cancer. Children and having children after cancer. There's so many different topics, but you can actually go to the website, become educated, and
Yes.
apply what you learn because of the tools that they have for you to use. This is one of the reasons why I was so excited about having Miss Karen on for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You all will get it in, the beginning of November, but you'll still have the information nonetheless. So, Miss Karen, what are some of the tools that you use to help get you through during your time of being diagnosed or during the time when you were just pulling some resources together, for your Sisters Network Incorporated?
Well, I learned early on that the fear that I had and the fear that I would see in other women, that fear stops you from doing the action that you need to do. And so I wanted to concentrate on our support groups, shoring up our sisters through the camaraderie, being with that person when they go for their treatment or for the information from the doctor, calling them to keep them motivated to do the right thing, It's easy to slip into a funk where you don't do anything. You're paralyzed. You don't go forward and you don't go backwards. You're just there. And so, because we understand that happens to most of us, including myself, you do not allow people to stay in that state of
Mm,
nothingness because you accomplish nothing. And when you learn that action helps save your life, not
mm.
fear.
Come on now. Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. You know, Miss Karen, I'm just so grateful for you today. You have just so many tools and that we can utilize and implement. So, Miss Karen, at this time, I would like to share some information as it relates to your book. I want to know, what was it about your journey that you wanted to share and package it in a book to help teach, the lessons learned, the habits that that accumulated along the way. And the name of your book is In the Company of My Sisters, My Story, My Truth.
That's correct. It's a powerful book because it is the actual example using myself and the organization, my journey with breast cancer, my journey with others who were through Sisters Network, what I've learned from other women, how I was able to reinvent sisters many times. We just kept getting better and better. And I find that when people say you have to find a new normal, that's just not a slogan either. You
Mm,
want to rejuvenate yourself and be the best that you can be at where you are. And
mm,
that's important, to accept who you are, where you are, and be the very best, because that shines through. Like people say, oh, you don't seem depressed and this and that. I'm the best that I can be with being diagnosed 4 times.
mm. I tell you, it's just overwhelming, just me hearing that. So I can't imagine the strength of a woman that you've had to have. I mean, it's God sent. It really is. And I just truly believe that you were purposed for this particular journey, because it takes I mean, you are truly a superhero, Miss Karen. And I don't want to wait to say it. I want to say it to you while I can. You are truly a living superhero for African American women and beyond.
Well, I
Um,
give all the glory to God and the sisterhood that I surrounded myself and the organization. That camaraderie makes a difference. It gets you moving. It gives
yeah.
you inspiration that yes, you can, because yes, you can.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about your COVID-19 breast cancer assistant program? Can you tell us a little bit about that? And
Yes. Now, we've
that's
had the
amazing,
breast cancer assistance program since 2006, because we knew early on, even though we were lacking funding for the organization in particular, we knew that the community needed funding for certain things. So each year, we put a certain amount of money away so that we'd be able to help women either with rent, mortgages, um, their copays sometimes. We help with the mammogram and ultrasound. So we have to choose each year which things are the most needed within our community. So this year with COVID-19, we added groceries. We had never had grocery money included in our breast cancer assistance program. But guess what? That's what some of the women need. So that's
yeah.
why we added that.
Mm. That's just amazing, because with everything going on with COVID, unfortunately, so many people have been impacted. So for you all to add groceries to that list, that's just amazing. So for anyone listening, if you are in need of groceries, if you know someone who, can you tell us the prerequisites? Like, I know they obviously have to,
You
be
have
a
to
cancer
be a
survivor or,
survivor of breast cancer in treatment.
all
And
right.
we have helped so many women who don't look like us, because we're not going to repeat what happens to us with other agencies. If you find sisters, no matter what race or nationality, and you are a survivor, we will assist.
Yes. And I think that that's wonderful. For people who are out there, regardless, of your nationality, regardless of your ethnicity, it doesn't matter. But clearly, we understood that there was just a need to shine a spotlight on, African American women and how this disease impacts us. But Sisters Network made it clear. Miss Karen made it clear. She's here to help every woman, any woman who's in need of the assistance.
Anytime you want information on African American women and breast cancer, there's two places that we all get the information from, which is the
Mhm.
National Cancer Institute, but they have so much information that it's kind of hard to find.
Right.
So ACS, the American Cancer Society, breaks it down into a manual where African American women and breast cancer, you can find that information separate, which helps.
Right.
So we just updated our statistics just this past week because we have the 2020 information. Usually it's lagging behind 2019, so you have to kind of wait a minute
Yes. Yes. Those statistics take a minute to,
to
trick.
tally. Yeah.
So, Miss Karen, let's talk about, on a personal note, how did you know your husband was the one?
How did I know what?
How did you know your husband was the one? He has been so instrumental in assisting you through your battle with cancer. And for women such as myself and others that are hopeless, helpless romantics and hope to be married someday with the love of our life, like we see you, you know,
Well,
we,
my husband Kyle, we have been married for 34 years, but he is my third marriage.
it takes time sometimes. It's a journey. We trust me. We know, Miss Karen. We see you and Mr. Kyle, but we know it takes
Well,
time.
and when I met Mr. Kyle, as you're calling him, I knew from the first date certain things that he did that a lot of black men weren't doing. He was helping me out of my chair, helped me to the car. I mean, not help me in the sense that I'm not capable, help me to give me that security,
Yes,
taking my arm. This was our first date now.
just guiding the way, huh?
Yeah, so he just had the mannerisms of somebody who cared because it wasn't a put on. This was who he was. And I
Yeah,
like that right on. And since I've been married two other times, I
it's all
had
right.
something to compare it
And hey, we
to.
all, it takes time. It takes time to fire wine takes time to evolve and to see you all living your best life. I love to see the photos. I just be rooting you and Mr. Cowboy. I say, oh, look at Miss Karen, the two lovebirds. Just a beautiful life, beautiful family. Your life is just so inspirational. That's why I'm so grateful that you were feeling yourself and just agreed to, come on the podcast. Is there,
Absolutely. Absolutely. This to me helps our community to hear information. And I feel as though Sisters is not in a position to pay for advertising because it's so expensive. We really rather spend our money on our BCAP program so that women can get some financial help. So having a podcast like you have is so important to the community because you're bringing knowledge and you pick and choose who you want to be on your show.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So that's important.
Yes, ma'am, it is. And so, Miss Karen, is there anything specifically that you wanted to touch bases on about a service or a program before we start to wrap up and let people know where they can follow you, where they
Well,
can reach
what's
you?
important, I have to mention that we have since May been doing a educational leadership virtual conference every third Saturday. So our next one that's coming up is November the 21st. It's very important because it's based on Ask the Doctor. And we are going to have survivors roundtable where they will be talking about their personal conversations about their journey so that it would be sort of like peeking out or looking into a support system or support groups. You know how we talk around at the meetings about our diagnosis, what we experienced, what went right, what we didn't like, what we should have done if we knew better. This is the kind of discussion so people can get firsthand knowledge of what someone did do, what they've learned they should have done, or maybe they did it right. So these are the conversations, and then the doctor, the oncologist will be there to answer any questions from the participants or either the survivor who may have some more questions. This journey is not ending because you rang the bell or you're not taking your treatment anymore. This journey is forever until there is no journey.
That was so powerful. That was a powerful statement, Miss Karen. Thank you so much. I want to read your mission statement. It says Sisters Network Incorporated is committed to increasing local and national attention to the devastating impact that breast cancer has had in the African American community. We are grateful for you, Miss Karen. I want everyone to know that they can find you at sistersnetwork.org. You're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And can you tell them where they can purchase your book and support you as well? Because all of this money you help to, pour right back into your organization. Can you tell them a little bit about that?
Yes, you can go to sistersnetworkinc.org and go to the donate section. If you want to find out about our programs, it's listed as programs. If you want to find out about where our chapters are located, these are the women who are trained advocates in their communities in which they live. You go to affiliate chapters. For my book is on Amazon and also in Borders. And you can call Sisters Network and we'll have some copies to send out. But basically, we prefer that you use Amazon or the Borders book.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Miss Karen. We have enjoyed this time with you. It's been such a joy, such a pleasure, just for you to give us that first-hand information to help be our best selves. Ladies, make sure you get out there and utilize the tools that Miss Karen has for you. Check out the website. You can follow her on social media. And I know for myself, I'm going to see what the prerequisite is to come to this conference, because I think I'm definitely interested in that. So,
and then you can see some of the conferences that have already been done on biomarkers, which is very important about heredity. You can go to our website and the conference is there, so you can look at as much as you want or as little and take it in as, a little bit at a time, because the information you will need.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much, Miss Karen. It's been such a joy having you today.
I loved having the time with you. You are good at what you do. You ask the good questions. And I certainly appreciate being on your podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Karen.